Alright, so we've built out the frame, and now what we want to do is we want to get the barrel. And the barrel, you can see, is it has a couple of different components to it. It has the main barrel itself, and then it has this under portion that actually connects to the frame, and the pivot, or the spindle that is attached to the cylinder, actually rests right inside of that. So you can actually see it in our left view, so you can see how it looks on this side. So what we're going to do is we're going to build out the barrel first, and then we'll build out the extra pieces underneath that. Alright, so to get started with this, we're going to start out with the cylinder. Pretty simple. Let's go to our front view, and let's go ahead and just, actually this is going to be the back view. Let's hit V and then K on the keyboard. And then I'm just going to left click and drag in a barrel, or a cylinder, about this same radius or so, and we'll drag that up. Let's go ahead and set the radius to about 1 on that. And then, not really worried about the height, I just want to make sure my height segments, cap segments, and sides are all the same. So 1, 1, and 8. And then let's go ahead and bring that forward. So let's make sure that the X value is set to 0, so that way it's centered on that weapon. And then we're going to come in and we're going to go to our left view, okay, or right view, it doesn't really matter. And we just want to make sure that that is centered up, okay, at least in the Y as well. Okay, let's just kind of take a look here. It might help if we go ahead and draw its radius down a little bit, and then you can kind of judge on how that's going to look there. So if we hit V and then K, looking at our back view here, you can see that just a little bit off. We might pull that down just a little bit. We don't have to be exact, we just need to be close. Okay. Alright, so now that we have that, this portion of the barrel is actually going to fit right inside of that. And in fact, if we take a look in our right view, hitting V and R, you can see here on the reference image that it's poking through there. So it's up there. Now this does appear to be much larger than that. Okay, so let's go ahead and just scale that up. Let's make sure we're set to 1. It's going to poke outside of the frame just a little bit, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and draw that down some more. You might hit Alt-X just to kind of help you see that. And it's pretty much going to touch the top of that. So we'll just draw that down. Looks like maybe 0.85, 0.86. It's a good value. There we go. That looks good. Okay, so now we have that. Let's hit Alt-X. And then it looks like maybe the hole itself might be a little off of that. And so it's not quite matching up with our reference image. So it's okay. We just got a little off. We can always manage that. All we have to do is just grab all the polygons that belong to that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to isolate this really quickly. Let me turn off the show end result. Let's select the polygon on the inside, hold down Shift, and select the next one in line, and that will select that entire ring of polygons. And then we can grow that, and we can get the polygons that we need to move all of this up. Now, there's going to be a problem with trying to move that, because these polygons right here are already at the top. We know that that is set perfectly. So what do we need to do here? Well, we can go ahead and we can just work around that. These polygons right here, as far as the circle goes, probably really don't matter all that much. So what we could do is actually take this edge and just pull it down. Now let's make sure that we turn off our edge constraint so we can move it down freely. So we could do something kind of along those lines there. Okay, it's going to be the same thing here on this side. We might want to flatten that out a little bit. Okay, because it's going to be covered up by the barrel anyway. So now let's go ahead and go back to polygon mode, and then you can see that we can raise that up as far as we need to. So let's go ahead and turn off isolation mode, and let's just raise that up until we are right where we need to be. Again, that's pretty close there. Okay. So that looks pretty good. Now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and start working out the barrel there. So we need to go ahead and convert this to editable poly. Let's go to polygon mode, select both of those polygons on the inside there, and we're going to hit inset. This is going to create the polygon we need for the hole for the barrel. So let's set it to 0.1. We're going to delete that. We're going to go to border mode, hitting 3 on the keyboard, select both those borders, and bridge. Okay, and that's going to get us started on where we need to be. And then what we'll do is we'll go to polygon mode. I'm going to select this polygon, hold shift to select the next one, and then I'm just going to pull that out in the Y, so that way it's right outside here. Now we're still a little off on this, so we may want to bring this down. We're going to compromise a little bit from the reference image. So we don't have to come down too much, so that looks pretty good. Alright, now I also want to thicken up the caliber here on this, so I'm going to go ahead and just thicken up that barrel. Okay, there we go. Alright, so now let's go ahead and select all these polygons right here. And I'm going to go to my right view, hitting V and R. And let's just simply extrude that out. So I'm going to hit extrude. And let's set this to 1 and hit enter. Grab our move tool. Whoops, let's go back to polygon mode. Grab our move tool with W and let's pull that out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this all the way out to the edge. Okay, just like so. So that gives us the right diameter that we need there. Alright, now we need to thicken this up a little bit more because there's a little bit of a flare that happens on the barrel. So let's add that segment where it needs to be. So let's do edit Swift Loop. Let's add it right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the polygons that are on the outside here. So let's hit 4 on the keyboard. Select this polygon, hold shift, select the next one. And we're just going to scale that up in the X and Z just a little bit, and that's going to create our flare. Alright. Go to the right view, just kind of check that out. Hit Alt X if you need to, and it looks like we're just a little large on that, so we'll just pull it down just a little bit. Alright, so there is that. Now you'll notice that it's poking through a little bit, okay, and that can be a little bit of an issue for us. So what we can do is go ahead and scale that down so it fits in there a little bit better. And it is going to come down. So let's go ahead and do Swift Loop. Let's add a loop right across the top here. And then I'm going to take these polygons and I'm just going to scale those down on their own. So that way it fits right inside of there. And it's okay if it's penetrating through. Remember, it's just going to bake out that way. And there we go. Okay, so there is the beginning of the barrel, and we've kind of talked about how to get that to fit. It's going to butt right up against the edge there, and especially if we come in and we add a turbo smooth to it, you'll see how that's going to come down and lose some of that volume. And so that's pretty good for us. Alright, so now that we have that set, let's go ahead and remove that turbo smooth. We don't really need that. We need to come in and we need to add in the second element of that barrel, and that's where it's going to be fitting into the cylinder's swivel here, or that pivot. So we'll